I'm just going to have to take one for the team. He mentioned it was one of the worst parenting decisions he had ever made. Would I eventually feel a little guilty? And the content they consume might get a little bit more extreme. The idea that a child could have access to even a fraction of that is slightly frightening. Have struggled to, even as adults, put it down sometimes, so have helped me to formulate my decision for now. And let me tell you what that is. We have a dilemma on our hands. At what age should our children have their first phones? Where we stand with technology now, our smartphones are an important part of our everyday life. Whether it's to be reachable at any given time, update friends and family on what's going on in your life, or as a productivity tool to get more done on the move without having to use a computer. Our children see our phone usage and the benefits that we see from that, and are most likely counting down the days to get to acceptable to own a phone status. I have many friends and family members with children of various ages, and have seen how them owning phones has brought some benefits. I've also seen the parents get annoyed and frustrated with their children because of their phone usage on multiple occasions. When this happens, parents may react badly due to being angry, and it ends in an argument and maybe even in the phone being confiscated. In my last video, we talked about our reactions to negative stimuli and the simple way we can start working on this to influence a better outcome. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. My name is Bobby, and this is Real People, Real Talk. Let me start off by saying I'm not an expert, just a father in the real world trying to do the best for my children, figuring it out as I go and sharing my thoughts and opinions in the hope that it will be thought-provoking for others too. Let's look at our dilemma. For me, I'm thinking about this a little early, I guess. My daughter is 7 years old. She isn't asking for a phone at the moment, and nor do we have a situation where her friends or classmates already have one. I see a lot of parents seriously starting to think about phones for children when they hit 11 years old and are getting ready to go to secondary school. My wife said to me that it would add some peace of mind knowing our daughter could reach out to us in case she is in need. Now, that makes sense, and it certainly feels like the reason why so many parents start their decision making for phones when their children reach this age. Unfortunately, there is also many reasons why it may be better to not get the smartphone for our children too young. There is lots of data circulating about the impact of phones on our young children's minds. I think at this point it's important to say there isn't really a right or wrong answer. Every child, every parent, and every situation is different. We may have decided that 13 was the right age and then later realized we probably should have waited. We may have decided to wait and found ourselves in a situation where we thought, I wish he had a phone right now. I guess that's the same with any decision like this. I do believe if you think your decision wasn't the right one, there are still options to make amendments to get better outcomes for all. Right, let's look at this. What are the pros and cons? What is this data I'm talking about? And what options is there to consider? These are all great questions, my friends. Let me take you through some of my thought processes, and hopefully by the end of that, I can make a decision together with you before this video ends. Let's go back to what my wife said about peace of mind, knowing our child can reach out to us in time of need, and start off with our pros. Yes, I agree. Children going to secondary school comes with new adventures, challenges, and experiences. It feels like leaving primary school brings with it a little less oversight from the teachers because they want to start cultivating independence in the children to set them up for their future. Add to that the fact that most likely your child's friends will be having the same conversations with their parents and may even be successful in getting a phone. This will add a little more pressure on you as your child's requests become more frequent in order for them to be as resourceful as their classmates. If your child is now asking to walk home by themselves because the house is not too far away, this becomes a compelling reason for them to be reachable. If the school treats them more independently, it's another good reason to help them embrace that independence by getting in touch with you themselves rather than going to the office and asking someone to call you. And of course, for you as a parent, you always have the option to send a quick text and say, "Are you okay?" Check in with them, especially on the days where you think it's most appropriate, like the day of an important test or project delivery. Another potential benefit of your child having a phone is that they will be able to keep in touch with their friends and family while not together in person. As our children grow older, I believe this becomes more important for them. I think there's something nice about our children potentially checking in with their cousins overseas or friends who have moved away to a different area. It is probably more realistic that our children would use those phones to keep in touch with their friends that they saw at school on that day and will see again at school the next day. Having said that, being able to reach their friends at any time will most certainly still be a pro for our children. The last thing I thought of is the fact that phones nowadays will replace other devices and allow your child to do the things they love with just one. For instance, they can use it to listen to their music, play their favorite games, and take pictures to their heart's content. The phone negates the need to purchase an instant camera or a handheld gaming device, and it's already pretty difficult to listen to music on the go without a phone. The last one might even be one of the reasons we could sway towards getting a phone for our children. Those are just some of the potential reasons I came up with when thinking about the pros of having a phone. They don't really take into consideration age, which for me plays a big part. Before I give you my cons, let me share some statistics I found when looking at the age at which children get their phones. Data from Ofcom, the UK's communications regulator, shows that phone ownership rises from 44% at age 9 to 91% at age 11. In the US, 37% of parents of 9 to 11-year-olds say their child has their own smartphone. And a European study across 19 countries showed that 80% of children between the age of 9 and 16 use a smartphone to go online daily or almost daily. I came across a number of research articles that all suggested that the average age for children to get a phone here in the UK was 11 years old. And this is really due to the milestone of going to secondary school at that age. Common Sense Media published some data in 2021. It showed that 38% of 8 to 12-year-olds have used social media at least once, and nearly 1 to 5 of those children say they use it every day. The research also stated that boys within those ages have more screen media usage than girls. This research included any type of screen time, not just phones. But I still think it's valuable to include here, given that if our children have access to phones, the TV might become a little bit outdated. On that point, I think it's also interesting to see that 65% of 8 to 12-year-olds either watch TV every day or watch online videos every day, which for that age group is the highest percentage of what screen time is used for. For our 13 to 18-year-olds, the highest percentage of what screen time is used for is also online videos, where it is 77% of those that were asked said they do that activity every day. This is followed closely by social media, which came in at 62%. 79% of 13 to 18-year-olds said they use social media regularly. The top 3 apps they use and said they wouldn't want to live without are YouTube, Snapchat, and TikTok. Okay, I think that's some really interesting data. But does it allow me to make such a big decision just from hearing that? I'm not so sure. Let me take you through some of the things I believe to be the cons, the things I worry about particularly. The smartphone itself is a worry. The endless capabilities and the huge amount of access it gives you right at your fingertips. I mean, we who have had a smartphone for the majority of the time that we have owned a phone have struggled to, even as adults, put it down sometimes. This is because the majority of our apps have numerous engineers sitting in the background trying to create something that captures your attention and keeps it there. The idea that a child could have access to even a fraction of that is slightly frightening. Backlinko released an article which was last updated in June 2025. It showed that worldwide average screen time was 6 hours and 36 minutes across various devices. It also stated that nearly half of American teenagers have a screen time of more than 8 hours per day. In the UK, the average for teens is 7 hours and 22 minutes. Depending on your child's age, with the smartphone comes social media and online videos too. Now, we already know that the top 3 apps children say they wouldn't want to live without are YouTube, Snapchat, and TikTok. For our teens, Instagram is also in that list. Social media is widely used on phones across the world. We use it to stay connected and find out what's happening in the lives of the people that we care about or are interested in. For teens, social media may increase feelings of anxiety and depression through the potential desire to be the same way as what they see on the screen. Sometimes, we find it difficult to establish what's real and what's not, especially because there are so many altered images with the ability to easily change physical appearances and hide imperfections. This could lead to feeling self-conscious and dislike the way you look. Cyberbullying and online harassment is also very common. The University of California released a statistic that in 2020, 44% of all internet users in the US said they experiences some sort of online abuse. And I always think about some of our athletes and the online hate they get when they have not been able to live up to the performance standards of their so-called fans. It seems a lot easier to say and do these things through social media than how people behave when they're actually there in person. Something I've been thinking about a lot lately is the idea that our children are slowly becoming dopamine junkies. And that is even without having a phone yet. Gaming, watching TV, the next snack, or even just a meal. Constantly looking forward to the next event and feeling a little bored if they don't know what's happening next. Throwing a phone into the mix would mean they are able to get that dopamine whenever they want. It also means they could potentially get to a point where they want more and more dopamine, and the content they consume might get a little bit more extreme. And we all know that the content is there if we allowed them access to the whole of the unfiltered internet. I also think this could be a reason why our kind and caring kids may be the person that says something unkind in comment sections just to get some sort of kick from the likes and laughs they would get from their friends. And lastly, I consider the parental guilt. If my daughter has a number of friends with a phone, and I kept saying that she wasn't getting one, would I eventually feel a little guilty? Especially because I'm certain she will remind me of it every day. I may also get my own reminder when her friends come out of school holding their phones. Our children are very important to us. We wouldn't want to see them sad or feel left out. Therefore, would that make me eventually give in to the requests, despite being unsure? I know this won't be a full list of benefits and worries, and there'll be many more that other parents will have. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts, whether you have already made a decision and your child is already a proud owner of a phone, but also if you're still thinking, please leave me a comment. I look forward to reading them. In this case, you will actually help me to formulate my final decision too. Let's have a look at these pros and cons, and let me tell you how they're influencing my thoughts. After all, there is some good information to consider here. Here are 4 factors I'm thinking about the most. Firstly, I don't really think it's about age exclusively. A decision for me would be made more on how much my child understands about the phone. For instance, how good is my child with looking after their things? Understanding that it's theirs to take care of. How much does my child understand about the cost of using services such as data, calls, or texts, if applicable? Also, how much does the child understand about online safety and the rules and boundaries that we have set out? I'm sure we wouldn't like it if all our child did at the dinner table was look at their phone or constantly respond to text messages. And with things like this, it puts a little pressure on us as parents to ensure we also model the right behaviors in line with those boundaries. The time I do think about age specifically is social media. I think I'm pretty clear that social media profile or presence should definitely come later than access to a phone. Number 2, I think just because secondary school is starting doesn't mean we have to make a decision straight away. There is an opportunity to let a few weeks or a couple of months go by and seeing how that all plays out, rather than being pressured by that date in September that we feel is going to bring a major lifestyle change for our children. Madonna famously said that she regretted getting a 13-year-old child a smartphone. And I spoke to a friend the other day and asked him when he allowed his son to have a phone. He said they decided to get him a smartphone at 10 years old. The decision was driven solely by the fact that their son had started to walk to school at that age. He mentioned it was one of the worst parenting decisions he had ever made. Not being pressured by a particular age or the fact that they're going to go to a bigger school would also mean that you won't be thinking too much about the benefit of amalgamating devices into one phone. Our children have been doing okay with their games console, TV, and other items they use in the house for a number of years. Another 1 or 2, most likely, won't hurt too much. Number 3, The dopamine junkie concept is huge for me. It does make me think that even if a decision was made for a phone, the usage will need to be regulated. Apple has a wonderful thing called screen time that tells us about how we are using our phones, how many times we're picking it up, following a notification, and also a detailed view of the notifications we receive. The other great feature of screen time is the ability to control your children's devices. Block content you don't want them to see, set time limits overall and for specific apps, and also add an age rating for everything that is viewed on that phone. This is great to be able to have a little more oversight, and if you don't want to use the built-in setting, there's a huge number of apps available for Apple and Android phones that will allow you to do something similar. The other thing that you're able to do is set up a family in your settings, which will ensure that any app your child wants to download will need review and approval from you. This may also help in ensuring that our children are using the apps and platforms that we know and trust. Number 4. I know we can't shield our children from the internet and social media forever. There will come a time where we will have to let them go into the digital world. And when we do, I think we just need to be confident that we have done enough groundwork to ensure they make good choices, just as we do and have done with the normal world. When that time comes, I think it becomes even more important for us to check in with them regularly and also give them the confidence that they can talk to us about any potential online harassment or bullying. I'd want my child to be comfortable to talk about being self-conscious or feeling anxious about certain things. I think this goes way beyond the phone and just calls for us to be the great parents that we all want to be. In conclusion, putting this video together and the research I did to be able to do so have helped me to formulate my decision for now. And let me tell you what that is. At the moment, I am swaying towards an alternative to a smartphone at the time where I think it's important for my child to be able to reach me and be reachable. Maybe a smartwatch that still allows you to send and receive messages and take calls. You'd be able to download some songs on there, and your location would always be visible to those that need to get to you in case there's a problem. The other option, of course, would be a phone that is not smart. I would love to tell my daughter about the joys of playing Snake on Nokia 3310. However, I do think the watch would be cooler and will probably feel less like missing out. When the smartphone does come, I am thinking about the before mentioned oversight implementations and would most likely encourage my child to not have social media until the age of 16. When the social media does come, I want to be able to say that we have built enough of a foundation for online safety, boundaries of when and where the phone needs to not be used, and most importantly, confidence to be able to come to us as parents. In terms of parental guilt with any of this, I'm just going to have to take one for the team to help protect my child in a digital age that can potentially do more damage than good if not navigated in the right way. This is my opinion as it stands. I might be right or I might be wrong, but as I said before, I still have some time to think about it. But please let me know your thoughts, whether you think I'm making the right move and what you are thinking of doing. And for any parents that have gone to this already, we would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to hear what you've learned and what you think you did perfectly. Please leave me a comment. It will not only help me, but also others that are here right now trying to make their choices. As always, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to help this video reach more people. My name is Bobby, and this is Real People, Real Talk. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.